So today's topic, right? I want to chat about. I kind of wish that there's a host to ask us question because we will be the main subject matter.
Okay.
You're listening to
Jom Sembang, Malaysia.
So why are we the main subject matter? So I noticed that there's a lot of trend nowadays that friends end up collaborating for certain projects. But the failure rate is also very high. The failure rate is actually higher than the success rate.
Okay, when you say projects, you mean like a project, like a once-off project, or like a business, or
So right, nowadays people
long-term?
don't like one-off project one. They always do long-term one.
Okay.
So we're talking more of long-term in terms of context.
All right.
So back in our parents' generation, or when I was first started when I was 20, old people always say, "Oh, don't work with your friends, you will have a friend breakup."
Or don't have your family also.
yeah, you know.
Yeah.
But with the world currently, it's like the world is getting bigger because of the internet, but it's also getting smaller because you want to choose who you work with. You're tired of just meeting someone and just becoming partners because it takes so much time to build up that relationship, right? So a lot of people always ask, you and Joita work together so long already. How does it work? Is there any time that you feel like killing each other and don't want to be friends anymore and stuff like that?
Okay.
So I thought, quite interesting topic. And considering that we have been working together for at least 10 years, almost 10
so
years.
long already.
2016. 8 years.
Okay, 8 years.
8 years, right? Before that, part-time, I don't count lah. Freelance,
Okay.
I thought it's an interesting topic to talk about because we have gone through it.
Okay.
And our friendship's still intact.
True.
Thank God.
Okay.
So maybe we can start with what are some of the challenges that we face. But let's put into context, right? So when I worked with Juita the first 2 years, we were just beginning to build our friendship. So maybe it was more of like we were a bit more than acquaintance, but we were not like good friends that, you know.
Correct.
So we have collaborated before, and then once a while we just like a bit more than acquaintance lah. Hello, what are you doing? If we meet in KK, we just sit down and yum cha, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that is the context. And then when we started working together was when I think the friendship grew even more because there's a reason to grow.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Shrita will yum cha with me once a month for 10 months. That's quite impossible to imagine at that time.
Okay, so need to backtrack a bit also. We actually come with very different expectation and probably also experiences with regards to friendship in the first place.
Yeah, and also with regards of how the working partnership work.
Yeah.
For example, like when we first got together, we don't even know what we were doing when we started Songs and Stories.
Yeah.
Anything have to do with songs, you like, I think you have to do stories with me. But yet there's no framework or definition. And that was the beginning of a lot of the challenges that we do because I probably have a certain expectation of the project.
Yeah.
And you have a different expectation.
Correct.
But we weren't really communicating about it.
Fire tech somehow.
Yeah. But I also think that it's also because when we got together to work together, there was that, hopefully I'm not wrong lah, on my end at least lah,
Okay.
the respect or the, we admire what we are good at. That when we needed to talk about the project, we just, or I think, she didn't talk about it, maybe she knows what she's doing lah. I just follow. That kind of feel was what I started with lah. The first two initiative actually lah.
Okay. So I think for me, the starting point is shared values. So sometimes we think about what we want to, I'm not thinking about us particularly, but what we want to achieve and then who can help us to achieve that, right? So most people would start with that. Like, I need to do this, but I don't have the money. So I find a business venture who can pump in the money. Or I need to do this, but I don't have the skill for that. And therefore I find somebody to. And then after that, then only you discover, our values quite different, or the things that matter to us are quite different, or the ways of work. For us, it started with the values part first. I
think more of like what we wanted to do. Because we weren't good friends enough to know each other value. For example, you wouldn't know I value punctuality very much.
Okay, no, I'm not talking about that type of values.
Yeah, so there was that, I think the common vision or common interest in a certain direction or project that we were doing.
Maybe what I mean more is a wavelength. You know how you can talk over coffee and you kind of know, we quite sync up in what we
want to do or what we were thinking.
That kind of thing lah. So then after that came the, actually what do you do? So I think that was already one challenge, right? Yes, we respected each other because then I discovered, oh, you do, okay, I kind of knew you did design after I knew that you did the writing thing. And
the whole video thing.
And the whole video thing. So then that's your expertise. So let you do that. And then if there were certain things only that I like, oh, can this be improved? Or can we try something else? Then we would talk about it. But yeah, then the audio part was more of me, right? But I suppose in discovering things like the punctuality thing, then having to adjust lah.
Yeah, so I think what happened with us is we started off as friends, but the friendship deepens through our collaboration and partnership. You know, without which it might not deepen is one thing. But
Correct.
for a lot of people, they might be best friend work together. So they already have a friendship to begin with.
Yes.
You know, or some people will be like us, we started off on the business and then friendship. So at some point, my friend will ask me, if things don't go well between Juwita and you for project purposes, would you still remain friends? That was a thing that actually said, okay, so I've never really thought so much about friendship and business, but I really realized that it affects so many people. And a lot of people always have this question because they see two of us and they go like, oh yeah, after 8 years, they're still working together. Or someone they're still friends. Like,
So 8 years is considered very long, is it?
To them, they kind of admire this, you know. So, and I thought there must be something that we are doing right that we can share to inspire other people to do this lah. Okay, so like what I want to do is I want to share some of the challenges that we go through so that you all don't think that it's all smooth sailing.
Okay.
Right? So like I said, we weren't really good friends to begin with. So when we started off the project, there was a lot of assumption or expectation that we didn't even dare to voice out.
Okay.
Also partially because of who we are lah. Like, you know, Juwita is like the vocalist, Shuna is the book writer. So let's not step on each other's tail. But later on we realized that if we remove the two titles of who we are, vocalist and book writer, that it was an easier communication to communicate through
it's
the
just
project.
Ju and Gina.
Yeah, like don't overthink it, you know, like when I ask about audio questions, I say, why am I asking the vocalist about audio question? I better ask carefully. But when I remove that title and be this stupid fella, I say, I ask you some silly question, then it really worked.
Yeah.
So I think being able to communicate honestly, directly, but not personal attacking is very important when you are having a business partnership. Whether you're friends or not lah, actually. But if you're friends, then you have to draw out the boundary lah.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm asking question, but it's not a personal attack thing, you know?
Yeah. So I think on my part, an example would be in terms of design, right? There are some times that I option 1 or 2 and then
Yeah, she don't dare to tell me no.
actually
Give me
both
an
also
option
like
straight. Yeah.
Then how to say, right? Because I'm not a designer, I actually can't actually give any constructive input. I'm like not feeling it, not quite sure. So learning also learning the language for it lah. I think there were some times that we say something but not the correct word to describe, right? And I think just learning the correct language and not being afraid to point it out lah, in a sense. Like there have been sometimes I said this one, then you say, hiya, I'm not talking about the font lah, I'm not talking about the text, I'm talking about the
position, the vibe, the concept.
So
then I will reply, the
that.
text font can change lah, the size can change lah. Just tell me if the photo works lah.
Yeah. So not attacking is one thing. Not taking things too personally is another thing lah. Although I'm like, of course I know this lah, but but just saying it nicely and understanding that it's not a personal attack and don't take it personally lah. The other thing I think was a challenge was, like I said, so I'm not a very generally deep friendship type of person. I talk more easily about work than about not work.
Yeah, so that was actually also one of the first 6 months that we were working together. She was very focused more on the project at hand. And I was focusing more on the friendship building at hand.
Yeah.
Because I always believe that friendship comes first before work.
Okay.
So that was how my thought was when we started working together. So you will realize that I always try to find out more about like what you like, what you do. Because I think all this affects the way you advise on whatever project that we do.
So for me, I think that challenge was, I just want to get this done right. I got asked all these questions like, Yeah. So on one hand, it's like not getting too personal about things, but then the question is like a bit more. It's not really about work. It's about getting to know one another, which wasn't something that I generally had done with my previous colleagues lah.
Yeah. So like for some of the things that really stand out, for example, right? That time every Monday we release a video.
Yeah.
Then every Sunday
crazy.
and then we kacau you. But for the longest time, Juwita has never told me that Sunday is family day for her. So I will say, how come she know tomorrow publishing 8 a.m. already? Until today she haven't go and review the subs. And then she will review middle of the night at 11 p.m. the whole day. Or sometimes she don't reply my text. Then every 3 hours, then she reply one moment. She never told me that it was family day. Until like maybe 3 months later when I slowly start to discover there's family day. Because there was sometimes she irritated like, I was having family dinner lah. Then suddenly like, what is this thing that slapped me on my face like that, Then I start to realize, I start to track a pattern because you know me, me and my pattern tracking. I think every Sunday is family day because every Sunday she either MIA at the most crucial time, like I want to sleep already when you want to.
Yeah, and I only come home at 9:30 or 10, right?
Yeah, sometime midnight that time.
Yeah.
During the early time. So when I discovered that Sunday was your family day, I start to try to make sure, can you please review before Saturday, Sunday? But you see, it took a few weeks to achieve this.
Okay, I didn't know this.
And you can only achieve this after you know a person lah.
Correct.
If you don't know the person, you treat it as a colleague, right? Then you get upset because you won't bother where she is. Like it's all like, hello, I need to upload, why you never reply? Correct. And it's a weekend, you cannot say you're busy, That would be the first thought.
But the whole weekend is my busiest time.
Correct.
Yeah.
So like those are some things that I think, we call it the thief thing lah, where you actually learn more about each other. Then you start to maneuver your working methods around the person's lifestyle. Kinda lah. Correct. And I don't think it's actually cruel or too personal an approach. It's like it's so-called professional approach based on the insight or personal insight jam like that.
Correct. So actually, it makes sense because even when we work in our projects, we take into consideration the timeline that, okay, so the weekend you'll be busy with this, so make sure it gets to you before that. So that you can get it done Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then you can go on your own thing, and then other people can take over when you're busy, right? So it's actually time management overall. And
so it can only happen if your colleagues open to you a little bit lah. Like, hello, when you MIA every Sunday. Took me like 5 weeks to see the pattern. And I remember that time we had a video editor. She and I were sitting down there every Sunday from 2 o'clock.
No feedback.
4 o'clock. I thought we were urgent. 6 o'clock. Oh, suddenly got one line feedback. Okay, repair already. Then another 3 hours. Wow. Then we start to wonder, what like this one? Until that pattern was identified, then we started Saturday. I told her, okay, let's do a Saturday by Saturday night. So that Sunday we just off day. So those were some things that you can learn and maneuver and work better as friends. Because I cannot imagine telling my colleague, hello, I family day. I don't know.
Yeah, unless in hindsight lah. I mean, even if it was work, I could say I will not be available from such and such time. Right, but at that point it didn't occur to me.
So it was a very so I think what happened is if you have a colleague, your colleague sometimes won't tell you I'm too busy for this or I'm doing something else and whatever, because they don't want you to think that they are not 100% focused on the project. So they will just like, But if you are friends with your colleague, your friends can tell you, hey, Gina, I reply later. I'm going to studio recording 3 hours.
Yeah.
But you won't do that to a colleague that you don't have friendship. You might just say, hey, I won't be available until 5. And the other person is like, forever not available. So the perception changes. So for me, right, every time now, because I understand your lifestyle a bit more as a friend, then when you reply stuff like, hey, I'm going for a studio recording in the morning. Then I will say, okay, don't disturb her until 2 because she go for lunch, until 2. But if you tell a normal colleague, oh, you busy in the morning, 12 o'clock, I sit down there and wait for reply.
Okay.
So I think the value of friendship, if you use it properly in the business, it can benefit the partnership lah.
True. I think in our partnership, right, I've learned how to communicate more. Gina always says, right, there's no such thing as over communicating.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like, I already say one time. I mean, and then now I realize, no, you have to actually make it, because what is in your mind is not necessarily what they think is happening.
Correct.
And I tend to say, I will tend to do that. I will tend to say, okay, I'm off in the morning, but I will not say that by the time I will get home, I have to pick my mother up or whatever. By the time I get home, it's going to be 3 o'clock. So you actually will not have my fullest attention until 3 o'clock, right? Yeah.
So you probably just said, okay, I'll be available 3 onwards.
Yeah.
To an external party.
Correct.
Okay, but if it's like Gina, because we are friends, Gina actually might be just before 3 lah. I go and pick my mother, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So those are some things that we can reap when you have friends lah, as business partner.
Yeah.
Learning how to actually use it to your advantage. So maybe after break, we'll come back with some tips on how you can keep the friendship going and not let business destroy your friendship.
Today's episode is in support of the YWCA KL's brand new initiative called the YWCA Community Oasis. If you would like to be involved in greening up a space right in the middle of downtown KL, reach out to us on social media, YWCA KL.
Just said, I would like to green the place too.
Yes.
I wonder if business ever destroy our friendship.
I think got risk before.
Yeah. I think the latest risk was the last few months when I was so-called complaining to Juwita. All we ever do is pick up the phone and talk about work.
Yes.
I don't even remember us having a friendship moment. I don't even know what's happening in your life anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Because there was a point in time that she just did this. The whole weekend I'm not around. And there's no context. Because as a friend, when we have context, when we actually have that friendship moment and the work moment together, right? Then when she said the whole weekend she's off, then I wrote, she's going to a conference. She probably have meal times to check urgent text message. So I'm able to do work according to that so-called schedule, right?
Yeah.
But when we don't have that friendship moment and then I don't even know where she's going, she just said, hello, I'm not around the weekend. Then I go like, is it from Friday to Sunday? Is it from morning to night? Or does she have half a day before she leave? Or like, wow, then it changes the way, again, work communication changes. Because we do a lot of work on weekends also lah.
Yeah.
So certain things like that. Then I started to tell you, very frustrating. It's frustrating in the, how come we are spending quite some time together?
Yeah.
But it's all work. It's like the moment we reach the venue, work. Okay, bye-bye. Because we rush off somewhere else.
Yeah.
Then reach a point where we don't even know what each other is doing. And then the workload we start to throw each other might not make sense anymore. Because we forgot to keep into account the other person's personal life via workload lah. I think lah.
Okay. I think sometimes asking is encouraged. I don't feel like asking is prying, especially when you're my friend. If you're not my friend, then
don't ask.
No lah. Still not that bad lah, I know. But actually, what are you up to this weekend? What's going on, right? Because sometimes, like I said, what's in my head has been playing. It's already in my head, and I don't know how much I have told to the people around me. I don't even know what I told my mother or I told you, because I might have told you and then I can't remember what I told the next person, right?
Correct.
So for example, if I say, I won't be around this weekend, I might have forgotten that actually I didn't say anything about whether I'm outstation or whether I have a gig or whether I have whatever.
Or whether you're stuck in a conference in KL.
Correct. Or with no Wi-Fi or no data. So I think it's okay to actually ask, because ask nicely lah. In general, right, we're talking to advice, right, or tips, right. So it's okay to ask. So what's your schedule like? You know, if I need to reach you, what would be a good time to reach you? That kind of thing lah. I think it's okay lah.
And the other thing, after I was complaining about this whole thing, right, I also noticed it in the way we were communicating. It was all work, short. That sometimes we don't even have time to give the context of the business chat that we're having. So there might be miscommunication.
Yeah.
So that was when I started to realize the friendship time is important, because it affects how we communicate when we are too busy in a project. So you remember there was one time I said, okay, let's take a break and just spend 2 hours not talking about work, which is quite impossible between two of us because we're so passionate about so many things. And then every time she want to talk about what that 2 hours, okay, no, we're having brunch, coffee, don't talk about work. Go and think about
It's like
you
you
don't
don't
even
sitting down and thinking, not about what?
like you don't even have to think about what to talk. We can just zone out and then share some learnings that we learned the last 2 weeks or something like that. And I find that when we did 1 or 2 of that session, subsequent week was back to a bit manageable in terms of workload. We are less snappy at each other.
And I think also because we come out more refreshed.
Yeah.
It's kind of reset. That's one. The other thing is that personal time helps you to know what frame of mind the other person is in, right?
Correct.
And the challenges. So it helps you to understand like, if she answers this way, it's probably because you know the context for it.
Correct,
it's not
correct.
just,
So it's like, if she answer this way, means she's rushing to somewhere else. If she answer this way, she's snappy, she's upset or she's stressed. Like when I get very edgy, I will answer quite short one. Then she will know that, she's either busy or she's snappy time, like don't talk to me or I will lash out, that kind of thing. But to also know that, hey, if it happens too often, then it's time to pause and pull back. Maybe the other person really stressed or something. Talk about it, I think that really helped in the whole friends doing business together kind of thing lah.
Yeah. I think in all things, like they say, you have to fill up the emotional bank.
Yeah.
And then those times when it has to subtract from it, at least you got stuff on the positive side to kind of offset. And people can understand, like I would be able to understand, okay, this is going on because that. Or
The underlying issues lah.
Something like that lah.
But I also think that people should understand when you are coming into business together, 2 person, you can either treat it as a business or you can treat it like a more than business. Business is like core business. I don't like you, I cut, that's it. There is no interest in growing together, moving forward together successfully and all that. A bit of challenges, just cut. Okay? But if you bring friendship into that business partnership, you know how they say you got a business wife and business husband? Yeah, because you're supposed to know each other so well, like you're in a relationship, so that if anything happened to one person, or if the other person have to stand up for the other person or go for a meeting that the other person don't know nothing about, you are able to immediately know what to say and what together you will make that decision. Instead of like, I remember the first 2 years we were together, I have to like, wait, this one I need to discuss with my partner. This one I need to discuss with my partner. After I'm like, fed up with it. Like everything I need to discuss with her, don't need to work together. I work myself, I move on already. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
But because after that we spend so much time together, I know what you think about certain topics and I know what your values are on certain project inquiries. I don't even have to say, ask my business partner. I just go straight, okay, this one, we think. I can really confidently say we think because I know that is your train of thought.
Yeah.
You will say this anyway. So I think, therefore, the bonding part is very important in a business partnership. Because it helps you to actually make better, faster decision, very accurate, and you're already in line. Especially when it comes to business, it's like yes or no now one. You don't have time to go back and talk to your wife,
Correct.
So yeah, those are like some of the things that I value in our so-called, our business collaboration. Because I know like, hey, I can do this. So whenever I have a project now that I know that I can put you in, I rather take you in and take someone else. Because we already have the rapport, we know what each other is thinking.
Correct.
I don't have to build from scratch.
Correct. In that sense, it's a good thing, but sometimes there's also a danger in that because like I said, you said, we've got so many things to do, right? And why we have so many things to do is because we keep on adding projects to what we are doing.
Correct.
In the sense, okay, so we started off as songs and stories, and then we started to do production together, and then we did podcast together. So it's like bertambah-tambah, there's only 24 hours in a day to do all these things, and then there's no more time to chat about not these things.
Correct.
Right? So and you have to carve out that time. So now, right, if I know that, okay, Gina's like already quite up to there with her plate, I need to be careful to not simply bring her in for everything. Like, you know, I need to come laugh. Okay, somebody calls me, want to do this or not? Then I'll be thinking, actually it would be good to have Gina on the thing because her production she has, the strategic thing and the planning thing, that will take a lot of load off me, right? Then I can focus on other things. And if I ask Gina, she likelihood would like say, okay, you know. But then again, it's like, should I or should I not? Should I load the working relationship with one more thing? So that's one. Or sometimes, okay, this one happened recently. I already asked, ask your input about it. And then after that, it's like, you already know the dates for it. And then at the end, like, should I not? I think no need lah. This one I can do on my own. But it's like, do I feel uncomfortable about saying, okay, I can do this on my own? Or is she expecting to be already part of this because we had already talked about it?
Correct.
Because we're friends, right? At the same time.
Yeah.
So where does the friendship end and the business start?
Correct.
Sometimes I still kind of find that a little bit tricky, you know? So
I find that, okay, the good thing is just now you mentioned, where does the friendship end and where does the business start? For friends to be business partners is to not take business talks personally.
betul?
Just because I say, for example, I think, I'm not sure if you noticed this. I remember we did some song production. And I said, Jurita, this one you don't sing, okay? And then people was like, hey, how come you never ask her sing? Then I was like, every song also must she sing, meh? You know, I just find that this song, the project, is making very objective thinking.
Yeah.
I want a male voice, she's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
a
yeah.
male. Or I want a female voice, but I don't want this tone.
Yeah.
And making that decision
Correct.
and able to tell you as a professional and a friend, say,
Yeah.
hey, don't take it personally.
Yeah,
I'm making a professional
Yeah.
decision.
It's not like I don't like your voice.
Yeah, something like that. So the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
thing as like I told you sometimes, hey, my design is only this one. You want some watercolor one, soft pastel color. I'm not a pastel color person.
Correct.
Please go find another designer.
Yeah.
So I think once we don't take things personally,
Yeah.
the business aspect can go well.
Yes.
But the
correct.
moment we start taking it personally,
Yeah.
all will go down lah.
Yeah.
Because every project you ask, hey, how come I'm not your producer?
You know? So I think that communication also needs to be clear lah. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's good like you ask, hey, this date is on, actually are we doing or are we not doing? Right?
Correct.
So having that I don't know, that forthrightness or that courage or that just say lah. If you feel like I think this one on it lah.
Yeah,
I think I can on my own and just to go ahead and say it without thinking, oh, but then how does she really want to do this? You know that then
Yeah, and
becomes too complicated lah.
Your
too many
friendship
things.
also gives you an insight whether the person really want to do it or not. You will know already. So for example, if I know this song like totally Ju style and I go to Ju and say, don't sing then I would already know that I might be offending because it's not
Right,
just
right,
a
right.
business decision, but hello, you're finding someone exactly like me to do that, then what's your rationale?
Correct.
So by knowing that person, you know what kind of value
Yeah.
they have,
Yeah.
whether they want to do it or not. So like recently, Ju have given me, okay, got these few projects. Then I said, hey, got one or two this one.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm doing too many charity projects. So we also do quite a lot of church projects, which is a little bit more of I call it ministry projects lah.
Yeah.
Okay, which might not pay very well.
Yeah.
And then I'm just telling her, hey, I need to balance between my charity projects
Yeah,
and my bill paying one. So let's find if this charity project is something that we really want to do, it must be really big enough that I can do it.
Yeah.
If it's small one, then we pass to someone else to do.
Correct.
So it helps Jurita to really decide this one should I call Gina or not. Yeah, it'd be nice to have Gina, but I think she needs to earn some money. You know, she needs her time to mental space or something else. Then you release it. But friendship wise, you might think, I think she might be interested. Let's ask, but prepare to take a no.
Yeah.
And that really have changed the way we communicate as business partners. I feel.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. So we decide together what projects to release, also based on this kind of understanding. So I think as friends, when you come to do business together, just don't take things personally.
Yeah.
Also spend time on that friendship. Don't let that business relationship or business chat overtake your like eat up the entire friendship time. You got no time to ask your friend, actually, are you okay?
Yeah.
You know, because we keep working and assuming the person is okay.
Yeah.
Those are what kept us afloat lah. So yeah, so if you are starting a business with your friend, then make sure she listen to this podcast.
Jom Sembang Malaysia is hosted by two Malaysians who are passionate about Malaysian stuff.
Stay tuned every week for a brand new Sembang session with Jurita Suito and Gina Yap Layung.
Today's episode is recorded at Studio 2105.
Remember to click like and subscribe for the brand new episode next week.